Alright guys, I wanted to say something real quick. You'll notice I'm skipping the numbers that are circled. That's because for REP, y'all don't have to do those. That's why I circled them. So hopefully that's not confusing. So like number 11, 16, 22, 23, 24, 25, I think that's it. You don't have to do those. But I wanted to do number 26 and 29. I'm skipping 27 and 28 as well because remember with graphing, plug it in the calculator in the table function, see if the points match up. Alright, so with 26, it's asking you to name the transformations. So what we're kind of looking at is, let's imagine this was my starting point. What it's asking is what did that negative do to the function, and what did that minus 5 do to the function? Now if you remember, the negative is actually a reflection over the x-axis. So that's my first transformation. There's reflection over the x-axis. Okay. So anytime you have a negative on the outside, if you had a negative inside, like next to the x, it would be a reflection over the y-axis, but you don't have to worry about that. And then the plus 5. Remember, inside means it's going left or right. So a plus 5 is actually left 5 because we do the opposite. If it was a minus 5, it'd be to the right 5. So remember, plus 5 is left 5. Or you can say it's a horizontal shift, left 5. If it was on the outside, so imagine for instance we had a plus 1 out here. Okay, that would be up or down, and it's the same, meaning it's going to be up 1. So you don't change it like you would do in the inside. So anyway, just wanted to kind of give you that as well. So transformations, again, remember inside it's left or right, and it's the opposite. Outside it's up or down, it's the same. And then if you have that negative, that's going to be a reflection over the x-axis. All right, with the domain here, it's asking for the domain. And if you remember what this graph looks like, I'll just kind of go ahead and graph it, generally speaking. There's going to be a vertical asymptote at 5. And then the horizontal at 3. I know that's terrible. And then the graph's going to look something like this. I believe it would be here and here. Okay. Sorry about that. You don't necessarily need to graph it, but I'm just kind of explaining you why the answer is the way it is. So on this graph, it covers every x value except that 5. So basically, when it asks for the domain of this, it's going to be everything but the opposite of that. So the way you would say that is, it's going to go from negative infinity to 5, and then from 5 to infinity. So it's going to be everything but 5. And the reason it's everything but 5 is because of that vertical asymptote at 5. And actually, if you were to plug that into the table and look at 5, it will say error. And again, that's because that is not allowed because it makes the denominator 0. So all you have to know is the domain, which deals with your x values, can be anything but 5. And that's because it makes the denominator 0.